circumferentially in the chest. Then the person has burn in the face and circumferentially in the chest. The patient's weight is 50 kg and the surface area burned is 30%. Then these three things is important. 50 kg, 30%, and burn in the face and chest. You have to remember these three things. You have to consider the three things for further questions. Now come to the questions. Write two immediate life-threatening conditions. There are many life-threatening conditions, but you have to ask to retain two life-threatening conditions. Immediate life-threatening. Can you say what are the immediate life-threatening causes? Again, you see the picture. Yeah, Larry. Yeah, tell me what is? Again, you see the patient has got burn in the face. You see the burn in the nose and around the oral cavity. What might be the immediate danger?
Sir, hypovolemic shock, laryngeal edema.
Yeah, hypovolemic shock may be there. The patient is 30% burn. Hypovolemic shock, laryngeal edema may be there. The patient will develop laryngeal edema. But more important that his nose is burned. His oral cavity is burned. Obviously, there is respiratory tract obstruction. Larynx is in the inside of the body, but the entrance is obstructed. And there is another chance is inhalation burn. Then burn to the respiratory tract and inhalation burn. These are more common. Then, of course, laryngeal edema is important thing, but hypovolemic shock, it may develop, but it is probably not that much immediate. It will take few hours to develop a hypovolemic shock. But even you can say hypovolemic shock. Okay, write two ways of airway management. How can you manage the airway?
Sir,
I told that one. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, chin lift, jaw thrust.
Chin lift or jaw thrust. Both are virtually same. These are not two different procedure. The same procedure, almost same procedure. Chin lift or jaw thrust. One. Anyone? Clearing the airway. Yes. But in this case, the airway is not obstructed by foreign body. Therefore, clearing the airway will not help in this patient. But okay, clearing the airway might be the one procedure. Then, any other?
Tracheostomy.
Yeah, tracheostomy. We can do a tracheostomy. Before that, before tracheostomy?
Endotracheal intubation.
Oh, endotracheal intubation. We can put an endotracheal intubation. Even before that, we can put a just airway tube or oropharyngeal airway tube. Then these are you have to write any of the two. You can write jaw thrust, chin lift, the airway tube, then the endotracheal tube, tracheostomy, any of the two. Write the fluid management, type of fluid, amount and infusion in the first 24 hours. Sorry, it should be first 24 hours, now status 24 hours. Then, okay. What should be the type of fluid in the first 24 hours?
Crystalloid.
Crystalloid solution.
Crystalloid solution. In the first 24 hours, it should be crystalloid solution. And the commonest crystalloid solution is normal saline. We can give just normal saline. Then amount of fluid. What is the amount of fluid?
Sir, adultদের ক্ষেত্রে 4 ml into kg and percentage of burn surface area.
Yeah. Then I told you that you remember these things. The patient has got 50 kg, is 30% is burned. Then 50 into 30 into 4 ml. Please remember 4 ml, not just 4. Because ultimately you have to say in ml, milliliter, how much fluid will be required, milliliter. And infusion regimen, what should be the, how you should infuse this fluid. What is the rate of the infusion? Okay, half of the fluid.
Half the volume of the first 8 hours.
Yeah, half of the fluid in the first 8 hours.
8 hours.
And rest of the fluid is next 16 hours. And what is 8 hours?
From the time of burn.
From the time of burn, from the time of incidence, not from the time of coming to your hospital. Remember this.
Yes.
Suppose a patient has been burned in an area at 8 a.m. and he has been transferred to the Anwar Khan Modern Medical College at 10 a.m. Then you should calculate 8 hours from 8 a.m., not from 10 a.m. Okay, then the last question. Which operation in chest will prevent inadequate respiration? Okay. Before that, why there will be inadequate respiration? Why the burn in the chest, there will be an inadequate respiration? Scar formation is a late phenomenon. Scar formation takes time. It is a circumferential burn. In the portion, it is written that the chest, the burn is circumferentially. It is circumferential. And immediately after burn, the skin loses its elasticity. It becomes a leather-like. The skin, it becomes a leather-like and it loses its elasticity. Therefore, the chest cannot expand. During respiration, we cannot expand our chest if there is circumferential burn. It is not a scar formation, it is known as eschar. Eschar. Then what will be the operation? The operation will be escharotony. Escharotony. Now you see the number 1, the laryngeal edema, inhalation burn, pulmonary edema, hypovolemic shock. Number 2, chin, lip, jaw thrust, airway tube, endotracheal tube, tracheostomy. Number 3, the crystalloid solution. You are right. Then 50 ml, 50 into 30 into 4 ml equal to
3,000 ml.
6,000 ml. And out of these, 3,000 ml should be given in the first 8 hours and 3,000 ml in the next 16 hours. And the operation is just scarotomy. Now, number 2, almost same type of question. A 25-year-old whole female of 60 kg sustained 30% mixed burn on her body. What are the methods of measuring burn area? Okay, how can we measure the burn area? How can we measure the burn area?
Sure, rule of 9.
Rule of 9. You know the rule of 9, the Loon-Browder chart, and the size of the palm of the patient as 1%. Then rule of 9, then Loon-Browder chart, and the size of the palm of the patient. Remember, size of the palm of the patient, not size of the palm of the doctor. Because if the patient is a infant, the doctor's palm will be much larger. Then size of the palm of the patient is 1% of the body surface area. Then how can you differentiate superficial from deep burn? At least 3 points. How can you differentiate superficial from deep burn?
Superficial burn involves only the epidermal layer. Deep burn, epidermis and dermis both will be
These are the
involved.
definition, but how can you differentiate?
So blister formation will occur in case of superficial burn.
Yeah.
Then sir, superficial burn intense pain থাকবে.
Pain থাকবে, that is very
But deep
important.
burn no pain will be felt.
Anything else?
Sir, fluid loss, superficial burn is fluid loss, or deep burn more fluid loss.
তো ক্যালকুলেশনের ব্যাপার ইজিলি আমরা কি করে বলি? It's a superficial burn will be painful. Superficial burn will be severe painful. It should be highly sensitive. It should be reddish or pinkish in color. There will be blister, and it is the consistency will be elastic. But deep burn will be non-painful. It is painless, non-sensitive. There will be no sensation. There will be no blister. Usually there will be no blister, and it will be leathery. And how will you calculate the required amount of fluid for the patient? Already it has been discussed. Mention the steps of management of burn wound. Mention the steps of management of burn wound, not the patient, the burn wound. Now tell me. This question has been, this question came into your exam in January 2017. Now mention the steps of burn wound. What should be your first management for the burn wound? Irrigate the burn area with copious amount of fluid. Copious amount of fluid. Then after that, there are other management. Okay, we'll see. Then the answer is the methods of calculating the burn area, rule of 9, size of the patient's palm as 1%, and Loon-Browder chart. Then second question, the differentiation between superficial and deep burn. Superficial burn is painful, highly sensitive, pinkish or reddish, and blanch on pressure. It is blanch on pressure. But deep burn will not blanch on pressure. Then the formula you know, already know, It is known as Parkland formula, the body weight into percentage of burn into 4 ml. Here it is 7,200 ml. Half of it should be given in first 8 hours and rest in next 16 hours. And the management of burn wound. The management of burn wound, irrigation with copious amount of normal saline. The first thing is irrigation of copious amount of normal saline. If it is deep burn, then excise the burn. If there is a scar formation, remove the scar. And then on the burn wound, apply 1% silver triazine cream application. It should be non-adherent dressing, and when the condition is favorable, the skin grafting may be needed. If there is deep burn, their skin grafting may be needed. Then these are the steps of management of burn wound. The irrigation, excision of the wound, sclerotomy, then antibiotic, cream or ointment, that is usually 1% silver sulfatazine, the non-adherent dressing, and skin grafting. These are the steps of management of burn wound. It is almost the same type of question, came into July 2019. You see, the question on burn frequently comes every 1 or 2 years after it is repeating. A 40-year-old female patient of 50 kg caught fire accidentally during cooling. It should be during cooking, not cooling. Her front of chest, abdomen, and front of both lower limbs were affected. She came to your hospital 3 hours after the incident without getting any treatment. Then the patient is 50 kg. The burn is front of the chest, abdomen, and front of the both lower limbs. Now calculate what should be the percentage of burn. The front of the chest is 9%, the front of the abdomen is 9%, that means 18%, and front of the both lower limb, if we consider that whole of the lower limb, then it should be another 18%. The total percentage of burn should be 36% more or less. And the patient came to the hospital 3 hours after incidents. Now, you got the picture? The patient is 50 kg. The front of the chest, abdomen, and lower limbs are affected. It is approximately 36% of the body surface, and the patient came into hospital 3 hours after the burn. Now, how will you calculate the percentage of burn? How will you calculate the percentage of burn? Already I have told that the front of the chest is 9%, front of the abdomen is 9%. Actually, front of the trunk is 18%. There is total 18%. And east lower limb is 18%. And it is only if the front of the lower limb, it should be 9%, and the two lower limbs should be another 9%. The total should be 36%. Calculate the amount of fluid in the patient may need. You know how to calculate.
50 into
the body
36
weight.
into 4, 7,200 ml.
Okay. Then name the IV fluids used in burn. What are the IV fluids are used? Just say crystalloid. In the first 24 hours, crystalloid. After that, colloid. You just say that. In the crystalloid, we usually use normal saline. Then in the first 24 hours, crystalloid. Then after 24 hours, colloid. What are the colloid solution commonly available? Can you name any colloid solution? The available colloid solution is stars, dextran, etc. Stars, very commonly available in our country, in other areas also. Star solution. Then name type of fluid used in burns. What prophylaxis will you give to the patient? What prophylaxis will you give to the patient? In this case, the patient is having almost 36% burn. At least few things you can say. The patient will need antibiotic. Definitely the patient will need antibiotic. Patient will need fluid. The patient will develop dehydration. Patient will need fluid. The patient will need antibiotic. And the patient will need other management of the wound. And mention the types of dressing you like to do in this patient. What should be the type of dressing? Remember, in all type of burn, our first preference is for dressing is 1% silver sulfadizine. 1% silver sulfadizine, and the dressing should be non-adherent. That means it should not become adherent to the wound. That means the dressing should contain the sufficient amount of oil or oily substance. It may be liquid paraffin, maybe oil, or any other things like that. That means non-adherent. Then you see the percentage of burn is by rule of 9, required amount of fluid is 15 to 36 into 4. Now, out of this, half of it should be infused within first 8 hours of the incidence. Now the patient has come to you 3 hours after the incidence. That means within next 5 hours, the patient should be infused 3,600 ml of fluid. Clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then crystalline solution in the first 24 hours, after that colloid solution. Then the prophylaxis is early intubation, escharotomy, antibiotic, etc. And dressing should be non-adherent antibacterial dressing. Non-adherent antibacterial dressing. The commonest dressing I told you is 1% silver sulfadizine. Now this is another question. We are out of the burn. This question came in January 2017. Another for clinical scenario, the commonest scenario you are given, one is burn, one is gastric outlet obstruction, and one is obstructive jaundice. These 3 clinical scenario is very common. Okay. Then a 45-year-old male with long history of vomiting got admitted to the hospital. The patient is 45-year-old male with long history of vomiting. Long history of vomiting, not once or twice. The commonest thing we can consider is gastric outlet obstruction. It is gastric outlet obstruction, either from malignancy or from peptic ulcer disease, etc. We'll see later on. Okay, his serum electrolyte level is as follows. Sodium 128 milliequivalent per liter. Is it normal?
Sir, there is hyponatremia.
Hyponatremia. Potassium is 3 milliequivalent. It is normal, is it?
Within normal range.
Normal.
3 milliequivalent per
Sir,
liter.
hypokalemia.
Hypokalemia, good. Bicarbonate is 35 milliequivalent. Is it normal?
Not normal.
Sir, hypochloremia.
It is not chloride, it is bicarbonate. Okay, pH 7.9.
Basic.
pH 7.9.
Alkaline.
Alkaline. The normal pH of the body blood is 7.4. The patient, it is alkaline. Okay. Then his urine has the following biochemical properties: a specific gravity 1.01, color high, pH 4.1. What is that? Is it normal?
Acidic pH.
Acidic pH. Sugar nil, ketone bodies nil. Okay. Probably these are not important. Now come to the question. What is the metabolic state of the patient? Already you have told the patient has got hyponatremia. The patient has got hypokalemia. The patient has got hypochloremia, and the patient has got alkalosis. How will you correct these abnormalities? How can you correct the abnormalities?
For hypokalemia treated by oral supplementation of potassium.
Okay, there is another abnormality we missed, that is pH of the urine. It is acidic. That means the aciduria. Then the biochemical abnormality is what are the metabolic state of the patient. You should also mention that the patient is having aciduria. It is actually paradoxical aciduria because the patient is has got alkalosis. Patient has got alkalosis. The patient should excrete more alkali with urine, but here the patient is secreting acidic urine. Therefore, it is paradoxical aciduria. It should not be like that. Then how will you correct these abnormalities? The main target is sodium chloride. If we correct the sodium chloride, the other things will be corrected automatically. The body will take care of the rest of the things. Therefore, how will you correct these abnormalities? Simply you say that by infusing normal saline, sodium chloride. If we infuse normal saline, everything will be okay. Then by infusing normal saline, okay, you can add some potassium to it. If there is supplementation of potassium, it will be corrected more rapidly. But even if you don't supplement the potassium, the body will take care of everything if you correct the sodium chloride. How will you prepare the patient for surgery? How can you prepare this patient for surgery? The patient has got repeated vomiting. The patient has got electrolyte imbalance. The patient has got alkalosis. And as the patient for long time is vomiting, he should suffer from malnutrition because he cannot take the nutrition. Then how will you prepare the patient for surgery? Already I have told. You should correct the dehydration because the patient is vomiting, regularly vomiting. The patient must have dehydration. You should correct the dehydration. The patient has got electrolyte abnormality. You should correct the electrolyte abnormality. The patient has developed alkalosis. Therefore, you should correct the acid-base abnormality. You should correct the alkalosis. And the patient is suffering from malnutrition. Then please correct the malnutrition. What will happen if surgery is performed at this stage? If we don't correct these things and do the surgery, what will happen? The patient is having electrolyte imbalance and alkalosis, therefore there will be anesthetic problem. The patient, there will be anesthetic problem. His muscle tone is not normal, therefore there will be problem with anesthesia, and the patient is having malnutrition, therefore there is every chance of developing infection and wound dehiscence. Okay. Then the hypernatremia, hypokalemia, hypochloremia, metabolic acidosis, and paroxysmal aciduria. We have covered all these things by infusing IV normal saline with added potassium, already told, with potassium supplementation. Then correction of electrolyte imbalance, correction of metabolic alkalosis, correction of dehydration, improvement of nutritional status, and of course, one important thing is gastric lavage. We should give gastric lavage. If we don't give gastric lavage, then there will be anastomotic leakage. Then the problem is anesthetic hazard and the non-healing of the anastomosis, anastomotic leakage, there will be renal failure, etc. are the problem if we don't prepare the patient and go for surgery. Therefore, before surgery, we must prepare the patient. It has come on July 2019, almost same type of question. A 38-year-old, 50 kg man presented with complaints of repeated vomiting, generalized weakness, and spasm of hands and feet. Remember, why there should be an spasm? Okay, let us come. He is known case of pyloric stenosis. He is a patient of pyloric stenosis, therefore there is repeated vomiting. On examination, he is dehydrated. Almost all patients of pyloric stenosis should be dehydrated because the patient cannot take any fluid. He is vomiting regularly. He should be dehydrated and anemic. It is an unusual feature. Patient should not be anemic, but here it is told that the patient is anemic. Because the patient is not losing blood unless the patient is suffering from carcinoma stomach, there should not be any reason to develop anemia. In case of pyloric stenosis, there should not be any anemia. Rather than the hemoglobin level should be high. because of dehydration. Hemoglobin should be concentrated more. Okay. Then his laboratory investigation, pH 7.47. What is that?
Alkaline.
Alkaline pH. That means the patient is having alkalosis. Sodium 125.
Hyponatremia.
Hyponatremia. Potassium 2.4.
Hypokalemia.
Hypokalemia. Chloride 8.5 milliequivalent. Okay.
Hypochloremia.
Calcium 6.7.
Hypocalcemia.
Hypocalcemia. Hypocalcemia. Now come to the scenario. The patient is having generalized weakness and spasm of hands and feet. The patient is having spasm of hands and feet. That means the patient is having tetany-like symptom, spasm. Now, what is the cause of this spasm?
So because of the tetany which is occurring due to hypocalcemia.
Good. It is hypocalcemic tetany. Now come to the question. Probably you will get a question on it. Hello. বলো হ্যাঁ বলো আচ্ছা ভালো বিয়ে করো শুভেচ্ছা রইল আচ্ছা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে তুমি কি বাড়িতে না ঢাকা আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে যাও আমার আশীর্বাদ রইল ঠিক আছে Okay, what are the biochemical abnormalities? Probably you can say the patient here has got alkalosis, the patient has got hyponatremia, hypokalemia, hypochloremia, and hypocalcemia. What is the basis of weakness and spasm? I told you, probably there will be a question. This is due to hypocalcemia, okay? How will you calculate the abnormalities of serum potassium? Okay, it is a tricky question. How can you calculate the deficiency of serum potassium? How can you calculate? Do you know? Okay, the calculation should be the, to see, the potassium level is 2.4. What should be the minimum potassium level?
3.5 milliequivalent.
3.5 milliequivalent, but here the potassium level is 2.54. Then what is the difference?
There is almost a difference of 1.1 milliequivalent.
1.1. Then the difference between the lowest normal potassium level and the patient's measured potassium level, that is 1.1. The patient is 50 kg, 1.1 into 50. And it should be multiplied by 0.4. That should be the level of total potassium deficiency. What fluid should be used for correction of these abnormalities? What fluid?
Normal saline.
Yeah, normal saline. Normal saline with potassium supplementation. Okay, now come to the question answer. Alkalosis, hyponatremia, hypokalemia, hypochloremia, hypocalcemia, you know all these things. Then the cause of tetany is hypocalcemia, and cause of weakness, generalized weakness, is hypokalemia. Then the potassium deficit, how can you calculate the potassium deficit? Lower limit of potassium minus measured potassium into body weight in kg into 0.4. In this patient, in this case, it is 3.5 minus 2.4. That means 1.1 into 50. The patient weight is 50 kg into 0.4. That means 22 milliequivalent of potassium. The patient has got total deficiency of 22 milliequivalent of potassium. And the next question, normal saline with potassium supplementation. Okay, now go to the next question. The same type of question. Yes, I have told you that actually the examiner prefer three things. One is pyloric gastric outlet obstruction, one is burn, and the other one is jaundice, probably obstructive jaundice. These three things are very common. Every 1 or 2 years, the question repeats. Okay, carefully read the statement and answer the following questions. A 35-year-old, actually the age is not important, was suffering from PUD for a long time. Now he complains of repeated vomiting, whatever he takes. He also complains of generalized weakness and spasm of hands and foot. It is almost like the previous question. Blood pH is 7.52, that means it is alkaline. 7.52. Hello. রেডি করতে বলেন, আমরা আর 10 মিনিট পরে করেন। আমি ক্লাস শেষ করে আসবো তো 10 মিনিট পরে সব রেডি করতে বলেন। আচ্ছা। Then sodium is 125, that means it is hyponatremia. Potassium is 3.75. I told you that the normal potassium level is lowest level is 3.5, that is it is hypokalemia. The normal potassium level is 3.5 to 5. Okay. The chloride is 85 millimole. Chloride, the normal is 95 to 105, that it is hypochloremia, and calcium is 1.8 millimole per liter. The normal value is 2.5 millimole per liter. There is hypocalcemia. Then what is the primary diagnosis? It is already, they say, what is the primary diagnosis? They said the patient was suffering from PUD for a long time. That means now the patient has developed pyloric stenosis. What are the biochemical abnormalities in this patient? Already you know. What are the basis of spasm of hands and feet? You know these things. How can the biochemical abnormalities be corrected? Already you know. How will you prepare the patient for operation? Okay. In the previous question, not this one, just before that, we have already studied how can we prepare the patient. Correction of dehydration, correction of electrolyte imbalance, correction of alkalosis, correction of nutrition, and gastric lavage. These are the procedures for preparing the patient for operation. Now come to the answer key. It is gastric outlet obstruction from pyloric stenosis. The patient is having alkalosis, hyponatremia, hypokalemia. Spasm is due to hypokalemia and hypocalcemia. Then how can you, okay. How can the biochemical abnormalities be corrected? It is IV normal saline with potassium supplementation. And because the patient is having hypocalcemia, you should give additional calcium. Hypocalcemia, you should give additional calcium. And how can you prepare the patient? Correction of dehydration, correction of alkalosis, correction of electrolyte imbalance, improvement of nutritional status, and gastric lavage for 3 days. Okay, I think now you can answer almost all the questions from the pyloric stenosis or gastric outlet obstruction and from burn. Okay, gastric lavage for 3 days. How can we give gastric lavage? Can anyone say? Do you know how we can give gastric lavage? Gastric lavage, it means the gastric, something like gastric wash. We introduce a NG tube, nasogastric tube, to the stomach, and then we wash the stomach. We push some normal saline, say 50 ml or 100 ml into the stomach. We push some normal saline into the stomach, and then we pull back the contents of the stomach, this 100 or 50 ml of normal saline. And we repeatedly do the process every 3 or 4 hours for 3 days. By this, we can clear the gastric cavity, almost any residue. Something like your bottle. How can you wash your bottle? Suppose you want to keep your lotion or coconut oil in a bottle of, suppose, Pepsi. Then how you clean the bottle of Pepsi? You repeatedly insert the water into the bottle and then shake the bottle and then empty the bottle. The same thing. You push some normal saline into the stomach and bring it back repeatedly. That is known as gastric lavage. Okay, this is another question. I think these are enough for today. We will go through these questions next time. Okay, students. You have to appear at the exam. Actually, we are taking all the preparations for you. We don't know whether your exam will be deferred or not. Actually, we don't know. Remember that examination of May has been deferred, examination of July has been deferred, but you are the candidate of November. Already 2 exams has been deferred. We are not sure. Probably you will have to appear in the exam in November. Hopefully, we hope by this time the world will be free of corona and we will be again see each other in person, not virtually, without any mask. Therefore, take preparation for November. Don't think that you will get enough time for all these things for, I think, what is that, blog posting. I don't think you will get enough time. Take preparation for November. We will assess your performance and we will at least prepare a list who will be eligible to sit for the exam. Therefore, be serious. You will have to be sit for the exam, for the setup exam. Okay? Kono question আছে? না থাকলে বিদায়। সবাই ভালো থাকেন। সবাই সুস্থ থাকেন।
আপনিও সুস্থ থাকেন স্যার, সাবধানে থাকেন।
সাবধানে, এটাই তো মুশকিল। আমরা তো এখন ওল্ডার জেনারেশন, আমরা তো হাই রিস্ক গ্রুপ। দোয়া করেন আপনাদের দোয়ায় যদি বেঁচে যাই।
আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
স্যার, আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। Okay, now the session is ending.